You said this thing is easy.
You said I do nothing, remember?
The baby would not stop crying. The food was burning on the stove. His phone kept ringing from the office. And for the first time in his life, Frank understood, truly understood, what his wife meant when she said she was tired. Frank and Olivia had been married for 4 years. They lived in a 2-bedroom flat in Lekki, Lagos. Nothing too big, nothing too small. Frank worked as a senior analyst at a firm on Victoria Island. Olivia was a marketing executive at a firm in Ikeja. They were building something together, steady and real. Sunday mornings, they went to church at the chapel near the estate. Olivia cooked big pots of food on Saturdays. Frank paid the bills without drama. They were, by any measure, a normal Lagos couple doing okay. When Olivia got pregnant, they were both happy. They went out for suya that evening to celebrate, sitting by the roadside on plastic chairs, laughing and planning names. This is her second pregnancy. But the pregnancy did not go the way they imagined. By the second trimester, the doctors called it high risk. Olivia's blood pressure kept climbing. Her legs swelled badly. She was placed on complete bed rest. No stress, no commuting, no work. The doctor was clear. Her life and the baby's life depended on it. So Olivia resigned from work. She did not cry about it. She just packed her office things into a small bag, sent her farewell message on the company group chat, and came home. Frank was supportive at first. He came home early some evenings. He cooked food on Saturdays, not perfect, but edible. He would sit beside her on the bed and rub her feet without being asked. He would say, "Don't worry, I've got us." And she believed him. Their daughter came in December, a small squirming thing with a full head of hair, born at Lagos Island General Hospital at 2 in the morning. Olivia cried when the nurse placed the baby in her arms. Frank stood by the bed, eyes wet, holding her hand. That moment felt like a promise. Recovery was not easy. Olivia's body had been through war. The stitches, the soreness, the nights when the baby cried every hour and there was no option but to get up, no matter how the body ached. Their baby was fragile in those early months. Every attempt at daycare ended with a fever, a rash, or something worse. 2 nannies came and went. One stole from Olivia, the other disappeared after 3 weeks. So Olivia stayed home. She did not plan it to be permanent. She told herself it was just temporary, just until things settled. But things did not settle quickly. And somewhere between the sleepless nights and the endless feeding and the cooking and the cleaning and the soothing, Frank began to change. It started with small things. A tone of voice, a sigh that lasted a second too long. Then it became words. "You're always at home. What exactly do you do all day, woman?" Olivia would look at him. She had just finished bathing the baby, cooking eba and egusi for dinner, sweeping the sitting room and washing baby clothes by hand because the washing machine was faulty again, and she had not eaten since noon. She would look at him and simply say nothing, because what was there to say? Then it became worse. "Frank likes fresh food," he would say, speaking about himself in third person in a way that made her skin crawl. "Why is this soup from yesterday? Since you are now always at home doing nothing, make sure my food is always fresh." She had barely slept. The baby had been up from midnight to 4. She had warmed the soup at 5:30 in the morning before he woke up, changed the baby twice, and managed to sweep before he came downstairs. And he was talking about yesterday's soup, asking for a fresh one. One morning, she asked him for money to buy groceries, rice, tomatoes, and the baby's diapers. She needed at least 10,000 naira. He transferred 2,000 naira. "Manage it," he said, without looking up from his phone. "You don't earn anything anyway. It is not easy to make money, you know." She stood in the kitchen, holding her phone, staring at the alert. 2,000 naira for everything. She did not cry that day. She just stood there for a moment, then put the phone down and started cooking what little was in the house. Money became a weapon. He stopped leaving anything in the house. She had to ask for everything, and asking felt like begging. If the baby cried too long while he was home, he would snap from the bedroom. "Can't you even handle one child properly?" If the sitting room was not clean enough when he came back from work, his face would tighten. If she sat down for even 20 minutes, he would make a comment. Some evenings he would eat in silence, push the plate away and say, "You contribute nothing. I am the one carrying this entire family. You should be appreciative." And Olivia would nod, not because she agreed, but because she had no energy left to fight. Olivia's closest friend, Amelia, had known her since university. They had graduated the same year in Unilag, had bridesmaids at each other's weddings, and still spoke almost every day, even though Amelia now lived in Gradaga. Late at night, when the baby was finally asleep and the flat was quiet, Olivia would call Amelia. She would sit on the bathroom floor so she wouldn't wake anyone and speak in a low voice. "I am trying, Amelia. I'm really trying. But it's like I'm invisible, like everything I do doesn't count because it doesn't come with a salary." Amelia would listen. She never rushed her. "Olivia," she said one night, voice steady, "you are not lazy. You are doing many jobs in one body. You are a nurse, a cook, a cleaner, and a mother, and you are doing all of it without rest and without thanks. Don't lose yourself trying to prove your worth to someone who has decided not to see it." Those words stayed with Olivia. She wrote them in the small notebook she kept in the bedside drawer. She would read them on the hard nights. Amelia also said something else. "Start applying, quietly. Don't tell him anything yet. Just start. Let's see how it goes." Olivia almost argued. She thought about the baby, about timing, about whether she was even still marketable after all this time at home. She said all of that to Amelia. Amelia said, "The baby is older now. The nanny situation will work itself out. And if it still doesn't work out, we will find a way around it. And Olivia, you ran campaigns for that company for 3 years. You are not a woman who has lost her skills. You are a woman who paused. There is a difference." That night, after Frank fell asleep, Olivia opened her laptop on the bathroom floor and began updating her CV. It took her 4 nights to finish it, 20 minutes at a time. So Olivia did.
The email came on a Tuesday morning. Olivia was feeding the baby when her phone buzzed. She almost ignored it. It was probably a bank notification or a promotion. But she glanced at the screen and froze. It was a job offer, a marketing role in a farm in Lekki Phase 1. She had applied 3 weeks ago, not expecting much, but they wanted her. The pay was good, better than her last salary. They wanted her to start the following month. She put the phone face down on the table. She finished feeding the baby. She bathed her, put her down for a nap, and then sat in the kitchen and read the email again, slowly, 3 times. She called Amelia. "They offered me the job." Amelia screamed. Then she laughed. Then she said, "Olivia, this is God. This is the exact moment you need." "But who will watch the baby?" Olivia said. "What about Frank?" Amelia said. "When is his leave?" Olivia paused. Frank had mentioned it just that weekend, 1 month of annual leave starting the following week. He had been relaxed about it, talking about resting, watching football, sleeping in. Amelia said it plainly. "Let him do your job for the 1 month of his leave. Every single thing. No help from you, and you will be the one that leaves the house in the morning." Olivia was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Are you sure this will work?" "Yes, it will, Olivia. You can face this." Olivia nodded. She told Frank that evening after dinner. She did not beg. She did not argue. She simply said, "You are on leave next month. I got a job offer. I want to take it. You will be home with the baby." Frank looked at her. Then he laughed. Not a mean laugh, just a confident one. How hard can it be? It is just staying at home. That is nothing. All this lazing up and down you've been doing. "Good," Olivia said. "Then it will be easy for you." She accepted the offer that night. Olivia was out of the flat by 7:15. She dressed quietly, kissed the baby's forehead, and left Frank a note on the kitchen counter. Baby eats at 8, 12, and 4. She needs a bath before her nap. There is rice in the pot from last night. She closed the door behind her and took a deep breath of outside air. She had forgotten what this felt like. The road, the buses, the noise of Lagos in the morning, all of it moving around her. She stood at the bus stop and something loosened in her chest. Back at the flat, things began falling apart almost immediately. The baby woke up crying at 7:30 and did not stop. Frank carried her, bounced her, and sang to her. Nothing worked. He tried to heat the rice with one hand while holding her the other. The gas flame caught the edge of a kitchen towel. He grabbed it, knocked over a bowl, and stood in the middle of the kitchen with a crying baby and a smoky towel, breathing hard. He picked up the older child from the house gate that Boss dropped him at that afternoon and arrived home to find the sitting room he had just cleaned was already scattered with toys. Both children needed dinner. The baby needed a bath. His head was spinning. By 9 o'clock that night, when Olivia walked through the door, she found Frank sitting on the sofa with both children finally asleep on him. The kitchen was a disaster. He had not eaten. She heated food for herself, ate quietly, and went to bed. He did not say anything. The next day, he could not keep up with the baby's schedule. She cried at 2 in the morning. He got up, changed her, fed her, and by the time she slept again, it was 4 o'clock. His alarm went off at 6 to start preparing the older child for school. He called his friend Segun that afternoon. "Guy, this thing is not easy at all," he said, his voice low so Olivia would not hear when she came home. Segun laughed. "Which thing? This baby thing, the house thing, all of it." Segun said, "Welcome to what your wife has been doing." Frank did not respond. He just stayed quiet on the line. He stopped judging. Not out loud, not as a decision he announced. He just stopped. The comments that used to form in his mind, why is the place not clean, why is dinner not ready, he no longer had them. Because now he knew. He knew exactly why. He had managed to cook a pot of soup that took him 3 hours. 3 hours because the baby needed to be put down twice, the older child needed help with homework, and he burnt the first batch of onions and had to start again. He thought about Olivia doing this every single day, without once burning the onions or leaving the homework unattended. He stopped complaining, not because there was nothing to complain about, but because he no longer felt he had the right. He understood now that exhaustion was not weakness. It was just what happened when a person gave everything they had to something that asks for everything. The week that followed, he was rushing from the kitchen to the sitting room, carrying the baby in one arm and a plate in the other. He did not see the small puddle of water the baby had knocked from her cup onto the floor. He slipped. The baby landed on the cushion of the sofa as he twisted to protect her. Frank hit the floor hard, his left arm taking the full weight of the fall. The pain was immediate and sharp. He lay on the floor for a moment, checking that the baby was okay. She was. She had even stopped crying, looking at him with wide, curious eyes. And then he tried to move his arm. It was fractured. He went to the hospital. They put his arm in a cast. He came home that evening, looking pale and quiet. Olivia looked at the cast. She looked at him. "Are you okay?" she asked. "Yes," he said. She nodded and went to check on the children. She did not say what she was thinking. She didn't have to. One evening, he was exhausted. He collapsed on the bed without bathing. He had been awake since 5. The baby had a mild fever and had been restless all day. He had barely eaten. His cast made everything harder. Cooking, bathing the children, carrying things. He just fell onto the mattress and closed his eyes. Olivia stood at the bedroom door. Softly, she said, "If it was me who did this, came to bed without bathing, what would you have said?" He kept his eyes closed. He said nothing because they both knew the answer. The days that followed, everything continues that way. Olivia came home, ate, and went straight to sleep. She checks on the baby once. She did not ask how his day went. She just lay down and slept. Frank stood in the sitting room with the baby on his good arm, staring at the bedroom door. Then he snapped. "You won't even come and help me? I am exhausted. I have one good arm. The baby has been crying since 5 o'clock and the older one has not done his homework." Olivia opened one eye. She said very calmly, "You are just at home doing nothing, right?" The words landed like a slap. Frank went very still. He sat down slowly on the sofa, the baby against his chest, and did not say another word. That night, Olivia turned to him in the dark.
She moved close to him, her hand finding his arm. A quiet, private moment, asking for nothing except closeness. He sat up immediately. I am too tired. I cannot even think right now. I don't have any urge, please. He heard himself say it, and the silence that followed was the loudest thing he had ever heard, because he remembered every time he had said something like that to her, or worse, had not even said it, had just rolled over and let her feel rejected, unseen, alone. He lay back down. He stared at the ceiling for a long time. Something inside him cracked open. By the 4th week, the man who had said, "How hard can it be?" no longer existed. Frank moved differently, slower. He did not reach for his phone the moment he woke up anymore. He would lie still for a minute, listening. Had the baby stirred? Was the older child already awake? What needed to happen in the next 2 hours? He thought about the months he had spent watching Olivia from the corner of his eye, thinking she was idle. He thought about the morning he had transferred little money and told her to manage. He thought about every time he had said, "You contribute nothing," and he felt something in his stomach drop. He was not a bad man. He had never thought of himself as unkind, but he had been blind. And blindness, when it hurts someone you love, is not much different from cruelty. He called Amelia one afternoon. He had never called Amelia before. He got her number from Olivia's phone while she was at work. Amelia picked up on the second ring. "I know you probably think I'm a terrible person. Please help me to beg Olivia," he said. There was a pause. "I think you're a person who needed to learn something. The question is what you do with what you have learned." He thanked her and hung up. On the last day of his leave, a Saturday evening, Frank bathed both children, put them to sleep early, and sat in the sitting room waiting for Olivia to come home. She came in at 7:45, still in her work clothes, shoes in hand. She looked tired, but it was a different kind of tiredness from the tiredness he had seen on her for the past year. This was the tiredness of a person who had spent the day doing something for themselves, something with their own name attached to it. There was still something upright in her face, something that reminded him of who she used to be before he had quietly chipped it away. He saw her sitting there. "Children are asleep," he said. "Thank you," she said, and moved toward the bedroom. "Olivia," she stopped. He stood up. He looked at the floor for a moment, then at her. "I am sorry," he said. "I was blind. I sat in this house for 1 month and I still could not do it as well as you are doing it every day. I had a broken arm. I was exhausted. I burned food. I lost my temper. And you are doing all of that for months alone. And instead of seeing you, I was telling you you are doing nothing." Olivia stood with her shoes still in her hand. "I told you to manage 2,000 naira, his voice catching. 2,000 naira for everything. How did you even..." He stopped. He pressed his lips together. "I am sorry for what I said every single time. I am sorry for making you feel like what you are doing did not matter. It mattered. It matters. You are keeping us alive and I was treating you like a burden." Olivia looked at him. She had imagined this moment many times. She had imagined herself saying sharp things, listing every offense, making him sit with every detail of what he had put her through. But standing here, looking at the man who once rubbed her feet without being asked and told her he had them, she did not want a fight. She was too tired for a fight. And she could see that he was not performing. His eyes were red, his voice was unsteady. He had been sitting here alone, waiting for her, with the children already asleep. He had done the work. "I know it won't go away," he continued. "Everything I said, I know that, but I want to be better. I want to actually see you." He reached out and took her hand carefully. "If you want to keep the job, keep it. If you want to stay home, stay home. But this time, I will support you the way I should have from the beginning. And I swear to you, I will never again make you feel like what you give to this family is worth less than a salary." Olivia looked at their joined hands. A tear ran down her face. She did not wipe it. "I do not want to go back to who we were," she said quietly. "We won't," he said. "I promise you, we won't." She nodded slowly, and for the first time in a long time, she believed him. Not because everything was fixed, not because the past year had not happened, but because the man standing in front of her had actually gone through it, had felt the weight of what she carried, had slipped on the wet floor and broken something and come out of that month understanding what he could never have understood from the outside. Some lessons can only be learned by living them. Frank went back to work the next Monday, but he came home earlier. He asked what was needed before she had to ask. When the baby cried in the night, he got up, even without being told, even on weekdays. And on the days Olivia came home tired and went straight to bed without warming food, he warmed his own food without a word, without a sigh. Because he knew now. He finally knew. Thanks for listening and watching. See you in the next video. Do men need to go through what women went through to know how much women bring to the table? Let's discuss it in the comment section.